everybody? Good morning, and welcome to the third episode of At the Coffee Desk with KJ. Thanks for joining me this morning. We're going to be talking about some controversial stuff here. We're going to get into the border crisis, the Biden policies on the border crisis, and just some of the really strange things going on in the news. Press releases from the White House secretary. This lady, I think, is absolutely not fit for her job. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to get too mean, if you will. I want to jump you right into this thing with this video that I came across this morning. It was actually what helped me decide what I was going to do a coffee desk on this morning. So let's get right into it.
Mr. President, you say you want to secure the border. Texas has secured it. Leave it alone. We don't need you down here.
Governor Greg Abbott said in an interview Friday that Texas is prepared for any conflict between state and federal authorities.
There are signs the Biden administration may be backing down from a standoff between the state of Texas and the feds at the southern border.
Texas officials say they will not comply with a deadline tonight to allow Border Patrol access.
Okay, what kind of access do they need? If they were doing their jobs, they wouldn't have to depend on the state of Texas and their National Guard to go down there and place barriers across the border, which should have been there a long, long time ago, i.e. the wall, which Biden obviously stopped immediately upon taking office. And we'll get into some of these statistics a little bit
as to Shelby Park in Eagle Pass. And Border Patrol agents say for now there are no plans to remove razor wire, even though a court ruling allows agents to do so. Meanwhile, more Republican states say they will send National Guard resources to the border.
Along the border in Eagle Pass, it appears Texas is in charge, and some want it to stay that way.
Mr. President, you say you want to secure the border. Texas has secured it. Leave it alone. We don't need you down here.
A Friday deadline that the federal government set for the state to let federal agents access a park in Eagle Pass will apparently pass with no changes. The state took control of the high crossing area earlier this month, even though the feds said they needed it to do their job. A court ruling Monday also paved the way for the feds to take down razor wire, but Texas has since added more. It prompted some calls for the federal government to take over the Texas Guard.
And I would remind
Okay, before we listen to this lady talk, forcing to take over the Texas National Guard. Okay, that is exactly what we have the Second Amendment for in this country. Whether it's our state National Guard or militias or just private sector civilians like you and me, is to prevent the government from overstepping with tyranny. And here I want to touch on another thing. If they need to get in there and do their job, why the heck are they wanting to remove the razor wire? Logistically, it makes zero sense whatsoever for them to want to get in there and remove razor wire. Again, it's just Biden administration's MO here, I believe, and I can almost put my money on it that you will see these people granted the ability to vote. And who do you think they're going to vote for? Let's get back into this.
everyone that the circumstances under which the federal government can mobilize a state's National Guard are outlined in the law, right? So that I'll leave that there, but I'm just not going to get into speculations on any actions the president's going to take at this time.
Of course,
Governor Greg Abbott said in an interview Friday that Texas is prepared for any conflict between state and federal authorities.
All we can do is be as prepared as possible, deploy as many people as possible, do as much as possible to put up more border barriers and deny illegal entry. And our head is down. We're working hard, regardless of what the Biden administration is doing.
Meanwhile, more Republicans appear to be souring on a congressional border security deal. Speaker Mike Johnson told colleagues Friday leaked details about the plan lead him to believe the plan would be dead on arrival in the House. It comes after former President Donald Trump said a border deal now would be a gift to Democrats. Immigration is a top issue for voters, but some...
You know what? And it would be. It would be for the simple fact that The Biden administration literally came in 2021 and undid everything that President Donald Trump did. Mind you, and I'll show you these numbers here shortly, had the lowest illegal immigration numbers for the third quarter of 2020. I believe it was down to, and this is a 3-month period, if mind you, down to like 68,000 only. That was pretty low.
Republicans still want to see action sooner.
I think they should try to get something done. That's my personal opinion. But regardless of whether they do or not, there's actions that the president can take right now to help the governor instead of working against him.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, the Supreme Court is the highest, law, court of the land. It is. And they made a ruling. And, on Tuesday, as you guys probably saw, DHS sent Texas a letter outlining the access Border Patrol needs in Shelby Park, for example, to do their jobs, and demanding Texas confirm this access will be honored. Border Patrol needs to have access in order to do their job. They just do. And,
their job currently is to release illegal immigrants into the country while they wait for a court date, which in some cases is as far out as like 3 or 4 years. Okay. How many of these people do you think are actually going to come back for their date? Let's be real here.
What we're seeing from Governor Abbott, you've heard me say this over and over again, they're making it harder. He's making it harder for Border Patrol to do their jobs. They need access.
They're making it harder for Border Patrol to release illegal immigrants into the country. They need access to that park so they can set up their little camp and process them all as they let them go freely into the states. Sounds about right.
And right now, they don't have that. And it's under the Constitution of the United States that federal law is the supreme law of the land.
Hold on a second. Are you telling me now that the Constitution actually means something? Oh, boy. Ooh. Man, I was worried there for a second.
And any conflicting state is preempted. That's the law.
So you think they're failing to comply with the court's orders?
I mean, it's the law. It is literally the law. I mean,
It's the law.
It is the law. And what we want is Border Patrol to be able to do their jobs. And right now, Governor Abbott is getting in the way. And you see it, DHS sent a letter on this. I would refer you to what they wrote.
Is DHS still trying to work with the Texas National?
Okay, let me stop this just for a second real quick. She says, Governor Abbott is getting in the way. The DHS sent a letter. Okay, so Biden administration has already weaponized the Department of Justice, the FBI. Why not add DHS to it?
National Guard?
Look, DHS wants the Border Patrol agents to have access. They want
sure
them
they
to
do.
be able to do their job so that they
I bet they
can
do.
follow the law.
Oh, yeah.
When Border Patrol is trying to have access to that area, they're actually trying to enforce the law. That's what they're trying to do. And Governor Abbott is getting in the way of that. And so they're trying to do their job.
So for this administration, enforcing the law, again, would be to capture these illegal crossings, process them, and let them into the country. That's the law.
Enforce the law, make sure that they are able to do what they are meant to be doing as Border Patrol agents.
They're communicating with the Texas National Guard.
I mean, I would refer you to the DHS on communication. I'm not tracking every communication that they're having. What I'm saying more broadly, which is true, which is Border Patrol needs to be able to do their job, and they're getting in the way of it.
And just a quick one on the border talks. We and others have reported that the White House has said that they would accept limiting parole at the border as a condition in the Senate border talks. Can you confirm?
I cannot confirm that from here. I'm going to let the negotiators have their...
You're not going to confirm anything like that. Of course.
Their process, go through their process. We think it's happening in good faith. We think there's been progress, and we want to see a bipartisan agreement here.
Thank you, John. Why are you guys making it easier for people to enter the country illegally?
I believe we are. Why do you think we are?
Well, you guys sued to cut razor wire that was put in place by Texas officials.
So that the Border Patrol could actually do their jobs. But keep going.
Well, you won in court, so now what? The Border Patrol Union president is saying the Supreme Court's decision is going to undoubtedly encourage more illegal immigration. Do you guys know better than the Border Patrol Union?
The Border Patrol needed access, and that's why we sued to get rid of that razor wire so that they could do their jobs.
Again, they needed access to set up their little processing center and do their jobs.
You know what would also help them do their jobs, Peter? More Border Patrol agents. There's an idea. And if you go back to the supplemental request that we put in, there's money in there for some 1,300 additional Border Patrol agents. We want to help them do their jobs. We want to give them more resources. And
we want illegal immigrants in our country.
Keep getting back from House Republicans is no, no, no.
Does razor wire work?
Does razor wire work for what? Does it work for the Border Patrol to allow them to have the access they need to be able to better process people that are trying to get across the border? I don't think so, and that's why we asked for it to be removed.
Okay. In my experience, razor wire is to do one of two things. That's either to keep population or group inside somewhere or to keep them out of somewhere. It always worked for me. I wasn't trying to go over that razor wire.
But what is the president's plan? This is happening just weeks after 300,000 people came into this country over the southern border illegally. The razor wire, officials down there think, was keeping some of them out. And you guys just sued and won to remove it.
On behalf of the Border Patrol, who needed to have better access to it. Look, let me go back to your other question.
They keep going in circles around this saying the same thing. How badly they needed Border Patrol to have access to the park to do their job. If he was really trying to keep these people out of the country illegally and force them to go through ports of entry that, have the legal procedure, even if that matters anymore, they wouldn't be complaining about having these barriers up. They'd be grateful because, in my opinion, would be helping them to do their job.
I know I'm running short on time, so I won't filibuster here, but what's the plan? Please look at the stuff we've put forward, the immigration reform legislation that the president put forward on day one.
On day one, now I'm going to bring this up after this video. We're going to touch on that, but I will bring up a snippet right here. That's their immigration reform.
The region, just last week, we had Mexican officials here to talk about how together we have and will continue to try to stem the flow of migrants. You mentioned the numbers. No question there's a lot of people trying to make that journey, but it's not just to the United States, it's to other.
It's all the other countries in the world trying to come here. What other country are they trying to go to once they reach America? Okay. And am I not mistaken, didn't the Mexican government ask for like X amount of dollars and support in order to have them cooperate with helping deter this flow of immigrants to their country?
In the region, we're seeing historic movement. Not since World War II have we seen this many people on the move in this hemisphere. And the Mexicans are really stepping up and trying to do more on their southern border to keep that flow going north lower. And we have seen in recent weeks some success at that. The idea that we don't have a plan or a strategy or we're not taking this seriously is just not borne out by the facts. And, again, if the folks.
Is it just me, or is everything this dude's saying contradicting the reality of what's actually going on? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
The House Republican side are serious about border security, and they claim they are, then they should act on the supplemental request and, let's negotiate this in good faith. The president has said he's willing to make compromises. He's willing to negotiate in good faith. So.
No. The president said he would shut the border down if this thing passed and it gave him the authority to. Check those little supplemental things that he's mentioning in this bill. It's pretty wild.
So let's have that discussion.
The tensions led the Border Patrol Union to issue a statement Friday saying, in part, rank-and-file Border Patrol agents are not going to start arresting Texas National Guard members for following their lawful orders. That's fake news.
Tensions between Texas and the Biden administration have reached a boiling point as the Lone Star State continues to defy an emergency injunction from the Supreme Court and block federal border agents into the state to cut razor wire it's been installing over the past few weeks. 25 other states have signed a letter pledging to support Texas as it installs razor wire on the southern border, with some sending members of their own state and National Guard to assist with the installation process. They wrote, "We stand in solidarity with our fellow governor, Greg Abbott, and the state of Texas in utilizing every tool and strategy, including razor wire fences, to secure the border. We do it in part because the Biden administration is refusing to enforce immigration laws already on the books and is illegally allowing mass parole across America of migrants who entered our country illegally."
But it wasn't just Republicans who backed Abbott's decision to buck the feds. Presidential hopeful RFK Jr. wrote, "Texas is right. Biden's failure to secure the border leaves..."
This right here, right there, big facts. It has left states no choice but to take matters in their own hands. And as he says, as president, I will end this humanitarian crisis once and for all. I will secure the border and destroy the business model of the drug cartels. Country without borders is not a country at all. Amen, Robert. Bobby Kennedy Jr., man, I'll tell you what, he's spot on there. So let me go ahead and walk you into the key facts of the Biden administration's border policies and how it has affected everything. Since President Joe Biden took office in January 2021, his administration has acted on a number of fronts to reverse Trump-era restrictions on immigration to the United States. The steps include plans to boost refugee admissions, preserving deportation relief for unauthorized immigrants who came to the U.S. as children, and not enforcing the public charge rule that denies green cards to immigrants who might use public benefits like Medicaid, food stamps, blah, 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 all the same stuff that they actually are handing them when they let them into the country. Biden has also lifted restrictions established early in the coronavirus pandemic that drastically reduced the number of visas issued to immigrants. The number of people who received a green card declined from about 240,000 in the second quarter. Now, this is the facts of the numbers I was telling you about. Check this out. In 2020, in the second quarter, 240,000 immigrant crossings, and that's from January to March, to about 79,000 in the third quarter, April to June. By comparison, in the third quarter of fiscal 2019, nearly 266,000 people received a green card. It's just wild, okay? And here, Biden promises to shut down the border if given the authority in bipartisan bill. These are things I was talking about here while we were watching the video. Wrap up, Biden administration's policies have fueled worst border crisis in U.S. history, okay? I mean, look, the numbers don't lie, and people just seem to be pulling the ostrich and just burying their head in the sands intentionally and ignoring this stuff. And, I mean, look, I could bring this up for you right here, okay? This is the PDF file examining the policies that encourage illegal migration, okay? This is literally from the United States Senate Committee on Foreign Relations, okay? And this is from June 2022. It's just ridiculous. You can see here, you could go ahead and find it on your own. I'm not going to put it out there. Okay, so dear colleagues, as we all know, illegal migration to the United States has been on the rise for decades, but it has reached astronomical and record-breaking levels since the Biden administration entered office. I mean, these are things that people don't investigate and try to look into, do research on their own. They just kind of go with what mainstream media feeds them out there, and it's really, 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 really ridiculous. So, I'll let you form your own opinion. I'm bringing you the facts. I think this is all a bunch of ridiculousness. I think the Biden administration has an agenda to let these people in the country. Like I said, some of their dates won't even be up for another year or two. In some cases, even 3 or 4. So I think the next step is that they're going to make these people voter eligible. And again, like I said, who do you think they're going to vote for? Oh boy. Strap it in, guys. It's going to be wild. There will be a conflict on U.S. soil, I believe, in the next 2 years, whether it be some kind of coordinated terrorist attack from all these cells that have entered the country through our southern border, or it's going to be a conflict between our federal government and a lot of the states that are tired of the tyranny and the BS. So thanks for joining me this morning. I hope you guys have a beautiful and blessed day, and we'll catch you on the next one.